It used to be that starting a professional application, it meant facing this wall of jargon.
Oh, absolutely.
You had to master these complex stacks, HTML, JavaScript, React, databases, just to make a simple button work. It felt like a secret language.
And that barrier is just,
Yeah.
it's collapsing right now. We're not talking about months of coding tutorials anymore or, struggling with configuration files.
Right.
You can bypass all of that and go straight to creating a secure, full-stack application login systems, live data, all of it in the time it takes to brew coffee.
Welcome back to the deep dive. I'm really fascinated by this stunning shift where the friction of software development is effectively being zeroed out. Today, we're deep diving into the source materials on Google Antigravity and the model that powers it, Gemini 3 Flash.
Yeah, and our mission here is pretty straightforward. We're going to unpack the blueprint. We want to show you exactly how these AI agents can step in as your lead developer, what kind of precise instructions they need, and crucially, how you get your finished app online in minutes. It's a new architecture for building.
Okay, so let's unpack that. For the last few years, AI was, for the most part, a code assistant. You'd ask for a function, it would give you a snippet of code. Now, Antigravity claims to act like a full lead developer. What is the fundamental difference there?
The difference is moving from just assistance to true agentic development. Think of it like this. Instead of hiring a contractor to hammer one nail, you're hiring an architectural firm that handles the entire build. Okay?
From foundation to finish. You, the user, you're now managing a team of AI agents.
And Gemini 3 Flash is the brain behind that team.
It's the fast, efficient brain. It can handle these huge amounts of information all at once. It reads your detailed instructions, understands all the pieces, and then manages the agents to actually execute the vision.
So if I have a great app idea, but, zero computer science training, why should this specific technology matter to me right now? Because speed and accessibility are no longer the bottleneck. A task that might take an experienced team 3 weeks to scope, code, and deploy, you can have that functionally working in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't need a degree. You just need a clear idea of what you want the app to do.
The sources even mention something called vibe coding, just describing the look and feel, and that it works surprisingly well.
Oh, absolutely. You can just say minimalist or dark mode, high contrast, and the agents translate that feeling, that aesthetic, into a functional style sheet like Tailwind CSS.
So what is it exactly that makes the AI the lead developer and not just a really good code assistant?
It plans the project, it installs software, it sets up the folders, and this is key, it fixes its own errors.
That transition from just asking for code to having the project managed for you, that is immense.
It truly is.
Now, to get started, the sources say Antigravity works on Windows, Mac, Linux, pretty much everywhere. But the one key requirement is signing in with a Google account. Why is that specific step so important?
Well, that login isn't just about access. It's about connection. It links the Antigravity app directly to Google AI Studio, which is where the power is. That's what gives you free access to the Gemini 3 Flash model, which enables all of these complex agentic functions we're talking about.
Okay, so when you open it up, the interface can look a little intimidating because you see the whole development environment. But the source material breaks it down into 3 main zones.
Yeah, it's actually much clearer than traditional tools. Think of it like a 3-panel workstation. On the left, you've got the editor. That's where all the actual files and code live. In the middle, you have the terminal. That's where the AI runs all the commands.
The installation, the build steps, everything.
Everything. And then on the right, which is the most important part for you, is the browser.
The live preview.
Exactly. That's where you see your application running in real time, responding to changes. You can click on it, you can interact with it immediately. I remember the first time I saw that middle terminal panel, just code scrolling past at lightning speed, it genuinely feels like a ghost is typing. And the advice from the sources is spot on. Don't get distracted by the moving code.
Right.
That's just the agent team working in the background, managing all that complexity for you.
Wow.
The user's focus needs to be somewhere else entirely.
Since the terminal shows every single line of code being executed live, what is the one area new users absolutely must focus on to succeed?
The user needs to focus entirely on the chat box where they deliver their project instructions.
Yeah.
And speaking of instructions, this brings us to the real art form here. Moving from just talking about an idea to precisely directing the AI. The secret, according to every source we looked at, is specificity. They call it the super prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a massive difference between a bad prompt and a great one. A poor prompt, something like make a fitness app, is just too vague. It gives the AI 1,000 choices, which leads to confusion. A good functional request narrowed that down. Build a fitness tracker where I can log my daily runs. It needs a login page, a dashboard to see my total miles, and a form to add new workouts. That gives it a clear purpose.
But the super prompt is the next level, where you give Gemini 3 Flash a complete technical blueprint, even if you don't really understand the tech yourself. That blueprint approach is the key. They gave an example for a smart goal tracker. The prompt didn't just ask for features. It specified the professional tech stack: React, Tailwind CSS, and Supabase. Then it detailed every feature: secure sign-up, a dashboard with progress bars, and a minimalist design using specific colors like Emerald 500 green. That sounds like I'm asking for a specific brand of tools. So how does asking for something like React or Supabase benefit someone who doesn't code?
It ensures the final application is professional, clean, organized, and it's much easier to host later on.
It's like asking a construction crew to use steel framing instead of wood. You get two huge benefits. First, it forces the app to be professional and organized, which makes it way easier to scale later. And second, these specific tools, like React, are designed for easy hosting, which simplifies the final steps.
Exactly. And this is where that massive memory of Gemini 3 Flash comes in. We call it the context window.
Which is basically its short-term memory.
A massive, persistent short-term memory. It can hold that entire detailed blueprint in his mind so it doesn't forget your design choices when it gets stuck on some minor bug 200 lines of code later.
Here's where it gets really fascinating for me. When you hit enter on that prompt, the AI doesn't just start writing code, it deploys a team. Tell us about the 3 agents working behind the scenes in that ghost terminal.
It's like a tiny internal development firm running on the fly. First, you have the architect agent. It creates the high-level plan, deciding on file structure, database connections, all that. Then the coder agent steps in and writes all the actual files based on that plan.
And the third one is like quality control.
Yep, the reviewer agent. It immediately checks that new code for errors or syntax issues before it even tries to run it.
And this whole dynamic is possible because of what the sources call Gemini 3 Flash's native reasoning. It plans the required steps. It knows that to add user login, you have to first set up a secure database, then create the authentication flow, and only then link the dashboard.
It reasons through the dependencies. It's not just generating text based on probability. This is why it acts like a real proactive agent that manages the process, not just a generator waiting for the next command.
The most impressive thing I read in the source material was about the self-correction process. If the coder agent makes a mistake, the team doesn't just stop. They analyze the error message, and they try a different approach, persisting until the app works perfectly.
Think about the hours that saves you. That one feature just eliminates 90% of the frustration that makes a beginner give up. You're no longer stuck wrestling with some obscure error message that means nothing to you. The system is self-healing.
Whoa. I mean, imagine having an AI team that actually plans the fix and executes it, never getting stuck on the same bug twice. That's a huge shift in how you work.
It's an incredible safety net for anyone who isn't a technical user.
So what specific capability allows the AI agents to fix a piece of code that failed to run?
The model uses native reasoning to analyze the error message and automatically identifies a new approach.
All right, let's talk about customization. So the app is up and running in the live preview. How do you tweak the design or add features without ever looking at the code?
This is where the multimodal part of Gemini 3 Flash is just incredible. If you see a button in the preview that you don't like, you don't describe the code. You click the screenshot icon, you visually circle the button, you just type change the color to ocean blue and make the corners softer.
So it's acting like a design editor, not a code editor.
Exactly. It sees the image, it identifies the corresponding element in the code, and then it updates the style sheet automatically. It shifts design updates entirely into the realm of, well, natural language.
And adding new functions is just as intuitive, I take it.
It is. You can just prompt, add a search bar at the top so I can find my tasks faster. The agents know that a search bar needs a complex filter function that sifts through data, and they build that entire architecture for you without you ever needing to know the technical name for it.
Let's touch on the full stack part of this. We said that means it has a brain and a memory, the database. How simple is it to actually set up that memory part? It's surprisingly simple, even the security keys. You just prompt, I want this app to save my data permanently. Please set up a simple database for me. Because you specified Supabase in your super prompt, the architect agent starts the process, it provisions the service, and it only guides you on the one thing you have to do: Copy the API keys from the Supabase site into the setup window. That is a massive reduction in complexity.
It totally eliminates the hours of configuration you used to need. And security, which is historically the hardest thing for a beginner to get right, is just as simple.
You just prompt it, add user authentication.
That is all it takes. The AI builds the entire sign-up and login flow, handles data privacy, and even manages things like forgot password functionality. And the professional framework ensures the security standards are high, even if you never wrote a single line of protection code.
So what's the easiest, most visual way to edit a design element without writing any code?
Take a screenshot, circle the element, and describe the desired change in simple words. So once you have your clean, customized, secure app running in that live preview, the next step is the finale, deployment, getting a real URL you can share.
This part used to involve FTP servers, DNS configurations, a lot of headaches.
A total friction point. But now Antigravity just streamlines it. You simply ask, how do I put this online for free?
And the AI steps in to manage the launch.
Yeah, it suggests robust, free hosting services. Because the code is clean and structured with React, it's instantly compatible with these modern services. The sources say the AI often generates a one-click deploy button that links everything up.
And the whole process is fast. We're talking like 2 minutes of waiting, and you get a live URL, a real working website. That speed just lowers the bar for testing an idea so much.
It validates your idea instantly. You go from concept to a live proof of concept in less than an hour.
What specific providers does Antigravity usually suggest when you ask it to deploy the app for free?
It most often suggests using free hosting services like Netlify or Vercel.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's cover the top 3 strategies from the sources. These are the practices that separate someone just playing around from someone building a professional application. The first tip is vital. Start small and iterate. Use the core first MVP approach. The biggest mistake you can make is trying to build the next Facebook on day 1. I have to admit, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself when I try to dump too many features into that initial request. You start asking for a login, then data persistence, then email alerts, and the AI loses track. Iterating is key.
Exactly. Start with one simple feature like just logging a run get that working perfectly, then add the next feature. This prevents those early foundational bugs that are impossible to fix later. The second tip is about structure. Practice separation of concerns in your prompts. This just means you give clear, separate instructions for function and for visuals. Don't mix them. So one prompt for the logic. The button should save the data and go to the dashboard. And a completely separate instruction for the design. The button should have rounded corners and turn green when you hover over it. That's perfect. It keeps the coder agent focused on logic and the designer agent focused on aesthetics. You get cleaner results. And the final tip is a brilliant shortcut to quality, using reference apps as mental anchors. This gives the AI a powerful, high-end aesthetic guideline without you having to define every single pixel. Instead of writing a long description, you can just say, build a navigation bar similar to the clean style of Instagram, or use a minimalist layout like Apple's website.
And the AI uses those professional designs as its standard.
It instantly injects high-quality design principles into your app.
So why is that core first method the most successful strategy for a beginner who's tackling a really big idea?
It allows thorough testing of each small part before it becomes a massive, complex, foundational bug.
So what does all this mean? The core idea really is that Antigravity and Gemini 3 Flash empower anyone to create these highly functional professional tech tools. The human role shifts from writing code to simply and clearly articulating a complete vision.
And this is all enabled by the breakthrough in the AI itself. That massive context window, that incredible memory, and the native reasoning. It allows the model to handle complex instructions better than anything we've ever seen, which truly enables this no-code revolution for professional apps. If you are ready to jump in and try this, the source material had a great suggestion for a first project. Building a personal goal tracker. It's simple enough to finish and deploy in about 20 minutes, but complex enough to teach you the basics. And here's the final provocative thought to leave you with. If the AI can autonomously plan, write, and fix its own bugs, doing the vast majority of the technical work, how much longer until we define the main role of the human developer as purely being the architect agent?
A fascinating question. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the future of agentic app building. Until next time.